Yo, hey guys, we're here at the Innovators Den. We got a special guest from Uptown's finest. We got Miguel Plaza. It's a pleasure and honor to have him here because he's done so much for our community, and I needed to highlight him in many ways. So we got Miguel Plaza, welcome,
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
and we got Danny, formerly
Formerly known
known
as
as.
hashtag on Instagram.
There you go. So yeah, I just want to get it, started and chop it up, with Miguel because he's one of our biggest influence. He's inspired me, and he's inspired a lot of people in our community. What's up?
Thank you, brother. I'm honored and humbled.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a process. Let's get into some good questions that everybody might want to know because they don't know you, but they know you. You know what I mean? They probably been to your events. Miguel's been focused on hospitality. And also culture and finance, right?
yeah, culture and finance, the Reserve Group, which is my hospitality company. I've been in this industry for over 20 years, and I like to say that I've accomplished a lot in that industry. And now, I've pivoted, because of the pandemic, decided to tap into another industry and open up a virtual tax business, which is called culture and finance.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Like my newest journey.
Endeavor.
Yeah.
Nah, and it's great because now this is a better way to help the community, right? Helping them with their taxes. A lot of us don't know from a Latin and Black community. We don't know about all the taxes, so it's good when you have somebody we trust, you know, do that for us, So that's very helpful.
Absolutely. That's how pretty much I started. When I started the business, honestly, it was back in 2021 when the pandemic happened. And the reason why I started was because I was really struggling to understand the financial, component behind, running a business. Taxes is something that we normally get scared of when we hear the word
Yeah.
taxes, right?
Right.
It's one of those, like, I would not even want to deal with it just because, I
Yeah,
had
put it
fear.
aside.
I have fear. So when I ended up opening up my first, nightclub and lounge, 10th Avenue, rooftop eatery, it was one of those things that I said, I really need to understand every component to be able to become more successful in this business. Because a lot of the downfall for many businesses is, not having their books in order.
Right.
So we had an accountant team, we had a bookkeeper. So I was like going to school, and
Yeah.
I was glued in the office every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just eavesdropping, asking questions,
Right.
sitting, we were paying them thousands of dollars, a year. I might as well take advantage, right?
Yeah, of
Right.
course. Yeah, learn from.
I ended up learning a lot from them, which then inspired me to.
There's a whole community that's gonna be watching this, and we want to also like highlight, your journey from being a promoter to then being a club owner. Highlight that, bro, because a lot of people don't know you went through all of it to be who you are today.
So I became a promoter by chance. Honestly, a lot of people don't know, but my first career path was to become, NYPD.
Oh wow.
So originally, the name of my company, my first company, was Them Boys Marketing Group. So
Right.
Them Boys was the start of my journey in the entertainment business.
Right.
So I started doing parties, like most of us, met a lot of people. I moved a lot too. Like I lived everywhere. I'm born and raised in Washington Heights, but I lived in the Bronx. I lived in DR. I lived in different parts of the Bronx and the Heights. Me and my mom, we moved a lot. So
Right.
required me to go to different
Adapt.
schools.
Right.
I knew people from from
From
everywhere,
everywhere.
from everywhere. So I started working at Nike Town, which was my first job. Met a crew of boys. We were, in the stock room, and we decided to just do house parties, and pretty much it became a thing.
Right.
Once I left the job at Nike Town, then I went towards my pursue my career, as a NYPD cadet to then hopefully become an officer.
Right.
So when I used to walk up and down the block, you had the guys in the corner. They'll be like, "Oh, them boys is coming. Them boys is coming." So that's where them boys marketing group came about.
Right.
And it was one summer going into the fall, I started realizing, how much I love bringing people together. And to me, that made me happy. I was kind of like second guessing whether I really wanted to become a police officer. I think that was just kind of like my last resort. Like, oh, you know what? Let me just do this just to say I have a career. But it wasn't. I wasn't really feeling it. Like, it wasn't really sitting well with me.
Right.
And I've always had that entrepreneur mindset. You know, that go-getter mindset. I always wanted more. And when I realized how much people loved coming to the events that I created, that just gave me that sense of, you know, fulfillment.
Right.
That it uplifted me in a way
Right.
where I felt, you know, I felt great. I felt amazing.
Right.
And I did it, you know, as a joke. Like, it was just fun. You know, it was a crew thing.
Right.
It started as a crew thing, and then I started seeing the opportunity to make it a real business, and I started really going hard.
Right. No, I
Getting
mean,
serious. And next thing you know, within 5 years, you know, I was able to accomplish, you know, at a young age. Some to me it was just, you know, doing parties, but for others was an experience.
right.
And I didn't really understand that part. And
You got fans outside already. You see, Miguel? You got fans looking from outside.
so, you know, to me it was just, you know, it was a hobby, but it became, you know, more of a business, and I was really passionate about it, so I wanted to learn more.
Well, from my point of view, is like I feel like you guys took Uptown through a storm because it became a culture then now. Like, you know, clubs started opening, lounges started opening. There was a lot of competition, but your events kept being consistent.
And I
you
think
know?
it's also like the uplifting, like the culture almost. Because now, like us, at least I don't like dress up the way I used to like 10 years ago. So it kind of made it like cool for me to step out and be in Dykeman or be in
Yeah.
Uptown and that area, just because like
So when I started, I wanted volume. You know, to me it was more. We didn't really have a lot of clubs uptown back then. We had a few of them.
Right.
We were going on. We had the Mirage. We had Melodia, which is
Piano lounge.
we had Melodias. We had like a few other venues, but not really known for its nightlife or hospitality the way it's known now. But I was lucky enough to go into build myself at a time where the community was growing. So the people that didn't know about Uptown with the events that I created knew about Uptown.
Right.
So I used to focus on volumes, bringing in 1,000+ people, and I started realizing that yes, that's amazing, that's great. But then that's when I started transitioning after a couple of years, started realizing that it's, you know, quality over quantity. So that's when I started becoming a little bit more, you know, strict with the dress code, weaving out, you know, the bad apples to be able to just give people a vibe that they could enjoy.
In a safe environment.
Yeah, in a safe environment at the end of the day. So, I mean, we're in the alcohol business, so anything could happen. But, you know, we try to maintain such a tight ship where everyone knows each other. And those that don't know each other, they feel the love and they feel the energy when they walk in the room.
yes.
And just the point of like executing, like, okay, we have this location. This is my team of promoters, and you know the girls who are helping, you know, bottle girls, or you know the team that create this environment, and then mapping out all those little positions and then bringing in the people. It's like success at the end of the night because you saw it from we have an empty space and we got to fill in the room, and we need all these compartments to make it happen. And for
Working
you to
yeah.
lead, right? That means you led a good team. You know what I mean? And that's what the community needed Uptown and everywhere. You know what I mean? To have a leader that's gonna put the team in place and create that environment so people can have fun, celebrate their birthdays, their baby showers, etc. You know, whatever the event is.
And ultimately, it's not even fun when you do it alone. So team is important.
Always.
You know, I can't, my accomplishment came from having a good team behind me.
Right.
Whether it was the first team that I started with or the team that I have now. So, you know, every so often, you know, I've been able to, you know, I've been blessed to, you know, have great people come into my life that believe in the vision that I have and believe in what I do in the hospitality business and want to be a part of the journey, which is the most important thing, is to have someone that wants to build with you.
Yeah.
Or like they say, instead of riding the wave. You know, my team really, you know, believe in what we do, and they embody everything that I embody, from making people feel safe, from the quality of people that are coming into our events, from, you know, music vibe, energy, everything. You know, it's like we're aligned.
Right.
Took many years for us to get there, but
Right.
you know,
And you have done a great job, you know. One of the questions I wanted to ask, like, you created, like, when you opened that club, I wanted to ask you what inspired it, but you brought the meatpacking district Soho vibe uptown, and that made it like so cool that people who was hanging downtown wanted to come uptown to hang out. And what inspired you to open that location? You know?
so at a certain time in my life, after being in the hospitality industry for so long, for 10 years plus, at that time, I wanted to travel more. I wanted to experience other culture or, you know, try other foods and not just stay uptown. Because, you know, I love our hood. I love where we come from. But in order for us to grow, we have to visit. In order for us to get inspired, we have to visit
Areas.
other areas
Expand
to, you know, to
knowledge.
let your creative juices flow, right? So for me, the meat packing was just like la creme de la creme. So if you go to the meat packing, it's like you're the shit, you know. You
Yeah.
got the money, you feel great, you dress up, you rub shoulders with the right people. The Tao Group was one of my biggest inspiration.
Yeah.
I read their case studies from Harvard like at least once a year.
Wow.
Share it with my team because that's what really motivated me to want to create that uptown. And I feel like we do deserve to have, you know, a hospitality company just like the Tao Group in our own
Community.
community because we do have the resources, we do have some fine dining locations, we do have venues that are like immaculate now
Yeah, they're
from
exquisite,
before to
actually.
now. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
right now it's like the elevation in our community has, you know, risen so high. You know, now you see like all these beautiful buildings being built. It's like, you know, we're blessed to come from uptown, right?
Right.
So the Tile Group was definitely one of the hospitality groups that
Inspired.
inspired me to want to create an establishment from, you know, the architecture, you know,
Yeah.
drawings to, you know, the lighting, which my friend was one of my lighting engineer. He was the one that created the lighting system there, which is
Experience.
crazy. And he was like one of my first DJs.
Wow.
His name is Tito Rock, which is now known as Tirso Lighting. So he opened up a lighting company, and right now he's one of the best in the states. I would
That's
say
awesome.
nationally right now. He's done some amazing work. So the fact that I was able to have my friend go ahead and also design my lighting system inside my venue, that to me was
Yeah, like we working together,
like
you
we
know?
working together, you know. So it's a lot of traveling, a lot of, you know, experiencing other, you know, cultures.
Right. But that was a staple center uptown at the end of the day, you know, like that was the place that brought a lot of people up to the uptown and the marina too, you know. So I feel like you guys created that environment that people can enjoy themselves, you know, and taste different foods from different countries and cuisines, etc. You know.
I've been blessed to work with individuals like Mateo who,
Right.
you know, had the vision to bring such, you know, a great, you know, opportunity uptown. I mean,
Right.
working at La Marina was really what allowed me to take things to the next level because I had someone like Mateo who believed in how I worked. I
Right.
was working with him in Harlem when he had Tale and Phuket, which I did amazing things there too with the team. And, you know, carry that over to the summer season at La Marina. And I was able to bring artists like Fab, French, you know, that's one of the things that I've always kind of like take pride in, but never really spoke on.
Right.
You know, when I had French come in, I had to get this guy a yacht because he wanted to go pick up Chloe over there in the Hamptons when he was with her, and he was like, you know what, I definitely want to pull up to La Marina in a yacht. And then from that experience, me having to speak to this guy in Miami that was docked over there in West New York and in West New York over there in Jersey, had to beg him. I'm like, yo, listen, I owe you any favor. Can you just please get this guy the yacht?
Yeah.
Right.
Get this guy this yacht. So the manager, I remember Gabby was like, listen, this guy is not pulling up unless he's in the yacht. So he did me the favor. He went and picked up Chloe. They came in. Then after that, you know, maybe like a month or two later, he came out with that track.
Yeah.
pull up in La
Marina, yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, he made it it was a culture. It was
a whole thing.
it was a trend at the time.
But for me, it was like I was always humble. So to me, it was just more humble success.
Right.
And I never really spoke about those wins, like those
Right.
things that at that time I should have went and, talk that talk, but I've
Right.
never really been the type to brag.
Yeah.
Well, we on the Innovators then.
But now
we
we
highlight-
here. Now you guys already know.
Now I know
Our
that there
story's
was
out.
a story
Now you guys
behind
already
it.
know.
And that's amazing, and that's why I say like you one of the influences from Uptown, but not only you influence a lot of people that has come to your events, and those experiences nobody knows, right? And that's why we needed to highlight you for all your successes.
guys.
You know what I
Thank
mean?
you.
And it means
you.
everything because again, we're talking to a lot of people that are doing amazing things, but nobody's highlighting them like you, right? Nobody's saying, "Oh, look at what Miguel did," and we want to highlight those things to a certain degree and with certain people, So it's an honor to have you on and to teach us because you've been leading by example in all the right way.
that we want to know is like, what was the biggest obstacle that you ran into with like setting up the reserve group?
Well, when I started the reserve group, that concept, that name was in 2019 when I opened up 10th Avenue. And I created a logo for it. I actually posted about that yesterday. I was actually thinking about pretty much how sometimes you hold on to a brand or an idea and you don't really do anything with it. It just stays there. But I always believed in it. So the reserve was supposed to be the name for a night that I wanted to create uptown at 10th Avenue. So it was more like this event is not for everyone. It's for, the celebrities, it's for the influencers, it's for the key players in the industries that want to come out and feel like themselves in one of the hottest spots uptown. Because prior to that, we did for 4 years, 5 years, I created Mansion Fridays at Cliff, New York when Cliff was open. And I did great things there with the team. Brought a lot of artists there like Diddy. Oh my God, like you name them, we did them there. I was able to help bridge the hip hop community
And the Latin
with,
community.
with the
Yeah.
Latinos because, us Latinos, we love hip hop, but
Yeah.
nobody was really bringing them uptown.
Right.
It was only myself and maybe 2 other people, and we all worked together to do that.
Right.
So when Cliff closed down, unfortunately, there was really nothing else, happening. It was just like we lost that
That
spot
Yeah.
that made you feel like downtown vibes, uptown.
Right.
So 10th Avenue on a Friday was supposed to be that, and Reserved was supposed to be that vibe. But then I love the name so much because it embodied me, who I am,
Who you.
as an individual. Like I'm low key, I'm very laid back, I'm very
Reserved.
reserved. Yeah, very reserved. So when unfortunately COVID hit, we had to close our doors. It was a challenge. I was first time in my life I felt handcuffed, like handicapped. I didn't know
Yeah, like what's next?
what's next, what I was going to do. That's how I not to jump back to the tax business, but that's when I had no other choice but to try to really dive into
Yeah, you had to pivot.
And then I took the class, paid for the course, got educated. I worked for a short period of time with a firm that, I learned from, and then it got inspired to, open up my own firm, which this year was the first year that I operated independently.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Proud of myself with that because,
Yeah.
I never in a million years thought that I was going to be preparing taxes or even in the financial side of
Right. Financial literacy.
literacy
Almost.
part, and we're just getting started right now.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like this is just the beginning. But when when COVID hit, everything stopped. I got discouraged. We had to give up the business. We couldn't sustain the rent. We were only open for a little bit over the year, so the help from the government wasn't really enough for us to kind of like stay
open. Yeah.
stay open. And then differences in partnership when we're put in situations like that, kind of like puts you in a situation where you feel discouraged and it's like you want to do something but you can't because the team is not on board.
Right.
So the decision we made was just to part ways, sell the business, and because we honestly didn't know what the future was looking like.
Yeah.
That was the worst time in my life, in my career, because I was like, damn, all that hard work that I put in.
All the effort. Yeah, you feel like you need to start all over
Yeah,
again.
to then start all over. To then start all over. So, it took me a while to get back on my feet. Honestly, fell into a dark place. But then what really kept me going was the phone calls from certain key players. Like, when is 10th Ave opening? When is 10th Ave
Right.
opening? When is that? I was like, at some point when the city opened up and they were open, they were like, I had to break the news. I was like, unfortunately, guys,
We're not opening.
we're not going to open. So, I saw the disappointment in, some of, my partners now in the reserve group. Like, I have two partners now, which one of them, I did my first interview inside the venue. His name is Princey. And the other one was Mello, who ran my Saturday brunches. So I was able to see something special in them that kept me going.
Right.
So then I said, you know what, guys, let's do this. Let's try to bring the brunches back. Let's try to take baby steps and do an event. I had an opportunity to create an event which you guys actually helped me out with last year for the yacht. So we did
Right,
a summer
so yacht party.
Yeah, so we did a summer yacht series. So the first event coming back from the pandemic was on that yacht.
Wow.
And it was my first event back.
That was the Colombians, right? The Colombians.
The first one we did was in 2021, and that was for the Dominican Independence Day weekend.
I remember.
Right.
And we sold it out. I was very discouraged. I was like, yo, do I still got the juice?
Right.
I was like, I still got it. But I was blessed to, again, work with an amazing team that helped me put everything together. Everybody was motivated, but they were more motivated because they were doing it with me. And it didn't really matter whether it was 10th Avenue or whatever other venue I was utilizing. It was the fact that we were creating something together.
Yeah.
So then even after the second event that we did, and that was in HK Hall, we did a Halloween event, which now we have a contract where we're going to be doing these Halloween events every year.
Yeah, I was gonna speak to you about the Halloween.
Yeah, it was going to be every year. So that was kind of like one of my biggest accomplishments coming back into the industry. And that's when we brought in close to, not even close. We did over 3,000 people in that space.
Wow.
Yeah, we did 3,000. We took over the whole entire building and we produced what I would say has been one of the biggest experiences that I've done collectively. Forget about La Marina. Like, La Marina, I love La Marina because we dealt with talent, with artists, and it was just a whole vibe. But on the production level,
Yeah, it's an experience.
this was what I really enjoy doing. So then that's when, the guys decided, like, hey, listen, again, same conversation when I started them boys, like, what are we going to call ourselves? So then I was like, you know what? I feel like we all have something very similar.
We reserved.
We're reserved. So came out with the Reserve Hospitality Group. Right now we're working with different venues, different projects.
Can you speak on those venues? Which
Yeah. Right now we have a partnership with Playoffs, and those that don't know about Playoffs, they're run by the Republica Group. So Republica on Dykeman, rooftop, the Republica rooftop on Dykeman. Those operators are also the same owners of Playoffs. And now they're the same owners of Agenda in Queens.
Wow.
So what I'm doing right now is that I'm keeping, the relationship tight.
And you're expanding.
And I'm expanding as well too. So we're doing it together. So when Natasha gave me a call and she was like, hey, Miguel, listen, I got this opportunity. I didn't really want to do the nightlife. Like, I didn't want to step back in. Like, I felt a little weird. Like, it was just like coming back.
still sour about
Still sour about the situation. Her, confused, and I didn't want to repeat the same cycle. Brunches to me was something that it was during the day. It brought me light, sun, happiness, and I connected with people in different different ways. So when I got brought in, it was for brunch. But then she kind of like pushed me into the nightlife. And
I got you.
the guys wanted the nightlife. They all wanted the nightlife. So
It was a scheme.
Yeah,
They planned it all along.
Yeah, they set me up. So it was like, you know what, let's do that. Let's do the Saturday night. And honestly, coming back to the game, it's like me becoming a student right now all over again. Because these last 2 years, a lot of things change. Even the people that are going out.
Right.
Us, we go travel, we go visit, here and there, but we're not in the nightclub popping bottles like we used to before.
Right.
So I enjoy the process of kind of like, adapting to the new generation and different ways of marketing,
Right.
which I think is really, one of the most important aspect in this in becoming a promoter right now is being
Right.
able to, keep up with the trends.
Right.
So the fact that, I'm able to have, a team of young innovators, creators, and, people like Bethany that you guys met before who pretty much runs my whole entire operation from the back end and allows me to focus more on other areas and other businesses, to me, that's a blessing.
You're as strong as your team.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you wanna shout them
And I
out?
learned that from, running my own business at 10th Avenue. So they say that sometimes losses is really not a loss.
Yeah.
You
It's a
get to
lesson.
take as a lesson.
And your
And
best teacher is your last mistake.
yep. So I was able to take a lot of
that a
those
lot.
things that challenged me in that business and apply it now to the Reserve Hospitality Group. And, we still learning, we still creating, we still putting together, a lot of stuff happening next year. So shout out to the team, Bethany, Six, Princey Mello, Luis Dominguez, Eric Estrada, like these guys, they really, and if I missed anybody, like anybody, even our collaborative partners,
Right.
they're all amazing. Like
Right.
they do their own thing, but together, like as a group, we accomplish a lot more. So I'm very grateful to have a beautiful team like them.
Yeah, that's important.
What's the next step for Miguel Plaza and Reserve Group? Now that we have all these new opportunities that came to your table now, based on your experience and your work ethic, people want to work with you.
So right now, I feel like I love the nightlife. I love the hospitality industry, but I don't want to fall into another situation where I feel handicapped again. So I'm learning new trades, like my tax business, real estate. It's figuring out ways to
Diversifying.
diversify my portfolio that is not just in the nightlife, but the beautiful thing about nightlife is that we meet so many wonderful people that it
Right.
just keeps
Yeah.
everything
Circulating.
going, circulating. So it wasn't because of the people that I met in the nightlife, and the trust that I got from, you mentioned trust earlier, the trust that I got from the community, I would have never been able to succeed in the tax business. Because in the tax business, once, you hear tax preparer, you automatically get that stigma like, "Oh, this guy's going to get me for my refund."
Right.
And there's been stories like that. So the fact that, they have a familiar face, I'm here, I'm present, like I'm active, and, they trust. That's important to me because I'm able to grow not only myself, but I'm able to grow with them because now I'm giving them advice. I'm like, damn, Ivan, you're doing your thing right now. Like, have you thought about,
Yeah.
doing this or doing that? So it's like the conversation changes because you see things from a different scope.
Right.
Totally. What about like what would you tell someone that's starting out, like an 18-year-old that's looking to get into the hospitality industry or even the tax business for that matter?
I always say this. I like to always look at myself when I was 18. And sometimes we look back and say, I wish I would have done this better. And one of the things that I wish I would have done things better was one, listen to my mom. 'Cause I was a knucklehead.
I think we all
Yeah.
feel that way.
Knucklehead, but we didn't turn out to be so bad, right?
Yeah.
Especially growing up in a Dominican home. They tough. But I'll say stay consistent. Never stop learning, and discipline is key. Consistency is key. Like, do things that it's gonna set you up to win. Whether it is, waking up early in the morning. Right now, it's one of the things that I do is, I need structure in my life because obviously, when you're an entrepreneur, sometimes
Yeah.
Yeah.
looks
You're working
pretty-
24/7.
working
You know?
24/7 is not as pretty as it looks. You're
Yeah.
Right.
all over the place. But
Yeah, we're on calls like
Yeah.
I speak to him like every day.
yeah,
so
so it's like, just stay consistent. Do good business, stay ethical. And doors will open. And if you believe in something, just nurture it. Nurture it. Like work hard towards it, and just don't stop. Eventually, everything is gonna
Pan out.
plan out. My goals were, when I was coming up as a promoter, my goal was to work with Cyan Lennox. Like, I was saving up all the coins, to invest and bring in Cyan Lennox Uptown. And to me, that was just something big. I was big into reggaeton in that era, right? So I just kept working. Didn't plan out. you know. But then I got called to work with individuals like CIM Production who believed in my work and saw what I did, and I always looked up to them in the
Yeah, as a
entertainment business, in
promoter.
the promoting world, because they were like the GOAT
Yeah,
in that era, you know.
yeah,
And they still are.
right. They still have the biggest events.
Still do their thing. You know, now they own Salsa con Fuego and they do a
Right.
bunch of other, you know, restaurants and stuff like that, which is amazing. But I was able to work with them, and then and Luna at Luna Lounge, remember Luna?
Yeah, Luna Lounge.
You know, and I was able to bring them 3-4 times, and then I was like, what next?
What's next?
Yeah.
You know, so then my goal was to, you know, at one point have a dream to open up my own nightclub.
Yeah, and you did.
Lounge. And, you know, it didn't happen until maybe 15 years later, but it happened.
But it happened.
And, you know, I never stopped working. And through that journey, you know, I opened up all the doors. I was able to become, you know, the ambassador for Moet Hennessy, which is $1 billion company. And
Right.
through there, I learned more about the spirit, you know, the spirit
Spirit
world,
drinks,
and
yeah.
saw things with a different point of view. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to take that step to make an investment and open up something that's mine.
Yeah.
Right.
But the opportunity was given, and I was ready to take advantage of that opportunity when it came.
Wow.
So
What would you say is like the biggest change though from like when you started to like now in the industry?
my goals, my mindset, what I believe in. I feel like we all grow into different versions of ourselves. We never stay on the same level, you know. So who I was last year is definitely someone different than I am today. I mean, I still carry the same.
You're not who you were yesterday. You know.
So how I view things is definitely different, and it allowed me to like feel content with myself. Now, you know, a couple of years ago, I lacked confidence. You know, we sometimes, you know, do a good job.
Nobody's gonna believe that. You know, everybody's gonna say,
like
he got it. You know.
I was scared to take risk and scared to, you know, jump into big projects.
Because we all get comfortable at some
because
point.
we were comfortable.
Right.
So a lot of those, you know, setbacks that I had now took that fear away. I'm like, what else can I lose?
Yeah.
Right.
Lost everything.
Seen it all. Yeah, this-
yeah, like
Right.
I've lost everything. So it's like now I'm back, you know? So,
Better than ever.
yep.
You know. So right now, if you guys want to find more information on Miguel Plaza, I could go to reservegroup.com.
You go to thereservegroup.com. You can follow my personal page, which is Miguel Plaza 24 on Instagram, or the Reserve Group on Instagram as well.
Right.
Also
And
culture
if
and
you need any
finance.
tax advice, any tax business, you can follow Culture and Finance.
Right. And also, if you got any of the hottest events, this is the guy to go look for the hottest events coming out of Uptown and New York City, you know.
The yacht party in the summer, which summer's
We're
coming.
here every week. We got things coming every month for the summertime. Yacht parties. We're planning Halloween already. Doing a big old white party. We got the brunches coming. So anything having to do with, you know, an experience, you know, we're getting ready to take over 2023.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. It's a wrap. We got the Innovators Den. We got Steve-O Business.
Formerly known as hashtag and
We
the
got-
Innovators Den.
And we got Miguel Plaza here holding us down.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.